Hi, on day one, what will you do for our farmers here in the Central Valley because they so desperately need some leadership?
So, I've spent a lot of time with farmers in California, all through the Inland Empire, right down through Bakersfield, and all through the Central Valley. And I would make a couple of observations. One is, we talk about innovation a lot in Silicon Valley, and we're quite proud of our innovation history. I will tell you, the people who deserve the Innovation Award of the Century are actually the California farmers. What they have done with little water and incredible regulation is really remarkable. You probably know that at certain times of year, 40% of the food supply in America comes from the Central Valley. 9 of the top 10 agricultural producing counties in the country are in California. Not Iowa, not Illinois, not Nebraska. 9 out of 10 are here in California. So the very first thing we need to do for the Central Valley is we need to turn on the water.
Yeah.
Is just egregious in my view. And what needs to happen is the governor needs to call for the water to be turned on. He will be sued. And that's what else is new. And you got to stand up and be counted, because what's happening, particularly on the west side of the Central Valley, is a humanitarian crisis. I mean, the unemployment rates in Huron and Mendota would make you cry. So we have to turn on the water. And then we have to solve the long-term water crisis. Do you remember when I started, I said we have an infrastructure that was built for a population half our size? The water infrastructure in California was built for a population of 18 million. So let's fix this. And we've got to build more above and below ground storage. My view is we have to have a new and improved alternative water conveyance system, alternatively known as the peripheral canal. We've got to do a better job on conservation. Everyone does, we all can. And then and only then, we've got to put more water back into the Delta for the Delta farmer and the ecological health of the Delta. Now, people ask me all the time, what do I think about this water bond? It is not a perfect bill by any stretch of the imagination, but it is progress, and we have gotten the legislature to agree to this. And my view is perfect is the enemy of progress here, and I am in support of this water bill. And what I want to do is I want to see it passed by the people of California, and then as we fund the bond, the governor has the ability to blue line certain pieces of cost out of that water bond, and that is what I will do. But I'm afraid if we throw over a year's worth of negotiations, we're going to be back here 10 years from now, 15 years from now, we're going to be having the same conversation. So my view is let's go forward. I promise I will blue line elements of this bill. We will remove some of the pork, and we should go forward, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime to once and for all build the infrastructure that we need in California. Let's see, right there, he's the tall one in the middle. Right there. Oh, I got it.
Jamie Dimon came out over the weekend and said that California is a higher risk than Greece is right now. And on day one, when you take office, you're going to have a liquidity and a solvency problem that you're going to have to deal with the legislature.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
And because by the time you get there, there's a good possibility your credit rating could be a lot less than what it is right now.
And we have the lowest credit rating of all 50 states today. There's no question that the debt problem that we face, as we talked about earlier, is a very serious consequence. Estimates are that 10% of the general fund could be used to service the debt in just 2 years. Think about that, 10% to service the debt. So this comes back to my notion of making government more efficient and effective. Truth be known, we have to cut government spending, because we've got to create the capacity to invest in things that make a big difference. And this is why I go back to the fact we have got to streamline the number of people who work for the government. We have got to go after the waste and abuse in the system. And I know every politician says that. I promise you there is billions of dollars that we can save by utilizing technology to do more with less. Virtually none of our health and welfare benefits are automated, which means we can't find fraud. In the administration of Medicare and Medi-Cal, estimates are it is between $4.8 and $5.2 billion worth of fraud every year in California. If we automated this system, we could find this. We'd only save half. We'd save $2.5 billion. The federal government would save $2.5 billion, but I'd take $2.5 billion given the crisis that we face. There is enormous opportunities to save money here, and that means we can create the capacity to pay down debt, to fund a water bond, to do things that we need to do here. My view is the very first place we need to invest those savings is tax decreases. So that's the approach I would take here, because if we don't put our fiscal house in order, we are going to end up in a situation exactly as Jamie Dimon's described. And what drives me crazy, and the elected officials here will give me a round of applause for this, what we cannot do is the state cannot reach into the cities and the counties to take your money. It is just the wrong thing to do. It kicks the can down the road. And what has happened here is just a terrific unwillingness to make the tough choices, to make the hard choices. And here's a little fact for you that I think you will find interesting. Today, the general fund of the state of California is about $85 billion. That's how much revenue is coming in. And it's down from over $100 billion due to the recession. But when I got into this race, I said, okay, so when was the last time we had revenues of $85 billion? And I thought someone might say 20 years ago. No, 2004, 2005. So California did not fall into the ocean 5 years ago. I mean, we can live within our means. It's just that the government spending ran up so dramatically that now it feels like draconian cuts. And if we're smart about using technology, if we get the right number of people working in the state, if we reform certain programs, I think we can live within our means and create the capacity to invest. This is a very significant challenge, but it is not impossible. And I think we can band together, if we can get a government we can afford if we put our minds to it. So thanks for that question. Let's see, maybe right here in the flag.
You've answered quite a few of my questions regarding the rules and regulations that are killing us. And we live up in the high desert, and the Mojave ground squirrel and the rest of Mojave plant has been in the state system for over 20 years. It's never been passed. It's horrible at best right now. But I've met with Supervisor Metzefeld before about this, and their biggest problem is that environmentalist groups sue county, state, everybody for reasons that are non-existing. How would you tackle that? Because you will be hit with that.
Yeah. There's no question that we're going to have to bring some balance between the environmental groups and jobs and people. It is out of balance and out of whack. And we also have CEQA, as you know, has become an excuse to sue in California. No sooner do you get through your environmental review, do you get through CEQA, then you get sued. And so this comes back to tort reform in California. We were just rated by, I forget exactly the publication, but 44th out of 50 states in terms of the lawsuit abuse situation in California. I mean, it is egregious. And yet, there are some bright spots. Medical malpractice has a $250,000 cap in California. Really, the most enlightened lawsuit protection in the states. And we need to extend that to product liability. I think we need to look at things like, should the person who sues, who loses, do you pay the winner's legal fees? I mean, this is something that would stop the lawsuit abuse and the frivolous lawsuit. And everyone in this room, and whether you run a restaurant, whether you run a small business, I mean, sue your boss. It has just become really a remarkable disincentive to doing business here. So those are the kinds of things I would want to do. I think we have time for two more. So the woman in the red hair, and then we'll go all the way over to this side, back to you in the back.
I am an educator, so I'm very concerned about, what's going on, and I agree, yes, we need to reward our good teachers in that. But also what I'm seeing is that we have left behind a lot of students. We have a cookie-cutter education system. What I would like to maybe see imposed technical training instead of, we've got kids, we need to educate them. Yes, so give them a trade.
Yeah.
Instead, they're not there, they don't want to learn, it's not working for them.
This is one of the most remarkable things. If you look back over 50 years of California public education, not only were we, the #1 education system in the 50s, we had some of the best vocational education in the world.